Hey everyone. Today's video I'm going to look at a new plugin called Silencer by Black Salt Audio, and this plugin is basically a gate for your drums, and we're going to take a look at it now. So here I have a recording and nothing has been done to it. There's no mixing or anything like that. So let's take a listen to the raw tracks. Let's solo them. And let's go to the chorus, because the chorus will usually have a lot of cymbals, like either open hi-hat or just a lot of cymbals. So let's take a listen. All right. Now let's take a listen at just the kick and let's see how much bleed there is. All right, so you can definitely hear the snare there. All right, so let's bring up this new plugin and let's see how effective it is at getting rid of all the bleed. And this video is not really a review of this plugin. It's basically just how I would use this. Up here, you're going to see that you can select a kick, snare, top, snare bottom, and toms, which is great, actually. Very simple. So since we're doing kick, whether it's a kick in or kick out, it doesn't really matter. Let's try, and this is a kick in mic. When I track, I just track with one kick mic. I never use a kick out mic. I just use a kick in, and when I'm tracking, I try to place the mic close to the beater so I can get a nice click attack and not so much of the resonance. So let's take a listen and see how well this plugin works. All right, so right off the bat, it does what it's supposed to. The length here, it's at 1,000 milliseconds. I like to bring it down a little bit because it's just a kick and I just want the attack. So let me mess around with this. And here is the reduction, is at -40. I like to have it between like -18 and 20. Actually, the default at -40, it's good enough. All right, and now let's check the D bleed, okay? All right, so that doesn't sound good. Let's go back to default. All right, let's do it before and after. So this knob, the D bleed knob, it's supposed to control the high frequency. So it's basically the more high end you want to go through. So let's mess around with this a little bit more, because I'm trying to get the most original tone off the kick and at the same time try to get rid of all the bleed. So I don't want to sacrifice the tone of the kick. So let's mess around with this and see what we get. I don't hear much when I go negative or positive. So if I don't hear anything, I just rather leave it at default. That's a good rule of thumb. When you're using plugins, start at the default and then either go to one extreme to hear what that does or doesn't do, and then go to the other extreme so you can hear the difference of what the knob does in both extremes. And then you mess around with it until you hear something that sounds good. But if either way you don't hear much, I rather just stay with the default. It's there for a reason. So I think this is good enough. Let's try it one more time. Let's bypass it and then we'll bring it in. I think that's good right there. Now let's do the snare. And again, let's do the chorus part. Let's listen to the snare. Let's put the plugin here. I'm just going to make a copy of it. And then what I do is I'll set it to default. And then I go to factory default here and I click it once and then I click it again. And that sets it to the default. Instead of, going over here and finding it. If it's the same, if the channel is the same, like a mono channel, then I'll just copy it and then reset it real quick. Much faster. So this one is a snare top. And let's take a listen. Okay, that actually sounds good because I feel like the body of the snare is still there. Take a listen. Let's bring it up a little bit. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to bring everything up. All right, let's take a listen again. See how that sounds like it's choking the snare? But that sounds good. Let's take a listen to this. Okay, that's definitely, that's really choking the snare. So I like it here, actually. There's nothing wrong with using a plugin and then going to like the very extreme here. If it sounds good. And for me, that sounds good. Let's do before and after. It's good enough. Let's bring the kick in and together with the silencer plugin on. That sounds good. And if let's bring in the overhead to kind of fill it in, and let's see how it sounds. See, that sounds good. Now I have more control over my overhead without worrying about all the bleed that's coming in from my kick and snare mics. Okay, so that's good. Let's look at a snare bottom, how it deals with a snare bottom. And again, let's do the same thing. Bring it in over here, click it, choose factory default, and then it sets it to the default. All right, so this is a snare bottom. All right, and let's take a listen to this. This I may make a little shorter because when I'm working with snare bottoms, I really don't like the tail too much. I just want to get the snare wire or that sizzle. So it's okay if it's choked a little bit. So I'm going to bring this down. There we go. Okay, so far, all three of them, the plugin is working well on the kick, snare top, and snare bottom. Let's just do a quick mix here because I don't like my snare bottom being that loud. All right, that sounds pretty good, actually. All right, so the last thing is the toms. So let's find where there are tom hits here. And I have tom 1 and tom 3. All right, so first let's do the first tom. And there is a hit over here. Right over here. So let's just loop that. Let's solo it and make sure my loop is long enough. All right, cool. So let's go back over here. Let's bring this one. And we are doing toms. So toms, it's just, there's only a preset here for toms. Not like tom 1, tom 2, and tom 3. Okay. And let's see how it sounds. All right, so it's catching that snare hit, so we have to be careful here. So let's do this again. All right, let's do it before and after. Not bad, actually. That's pretty good. All right, and we have another tom. So let's just bring this in real quick. All right, let's bypass it and let's find where that tom hit is. Okay, this one here. Oh, there's a roll here, so let's stick with this one. All right, cool. So let's see. All right, and let's see how both of them sound. So let's go over here like this. That's not bad. Let's bring in this, all the other ones that we did. And the overhead. That's pretty good. Actually, that's really good. The silencer is really working well for me. So there you have it. I'm definitely going to be using this. It's a great plugin. It's easy to use and it gets the job done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy mixing.